They told the little girl never to go near the forbidden forest, but Lila only heard the call of a friend no one else understood. With her messy hair and eyes sparkling with curiosity, 10-year-old Lila lived at a research station deep in the tropical rainforest of Borneo, Indonesia. Her parents were dedicated ecologists, devoting their lives to studying and protecting the rare lowland gorillas. But Lila was not like other children. She was rebellious, brave, and always drawn to the mysteries that adults often overlooked. One afternoon, as the golden-orange sunlight filtered through the dense canopy, Lila came across Kito, a baby gorilla with big round eyes and a bandaged leg. Kito had been badly injured after getting caught in a poacher's trap and was rescued by the researchers at the station. Lila's heart trembled at the sight of the small gorilla's vulnerability yet resilience. Despite knowing the dangers, she decided to take action. Sneaking past the wire fence, Lila carried a small cloth bag containing a ripe banana and a bracelet woven from leaves, which she had made herself. Standing in front of Kito's enclosure, she whispered, "Kito, don't be afraid. I'm Lila. This is for you." Kito slowly crawled over, took the banana, and looked at the leaf bracelet with curious eyes. In that moment, an invisible bond connected their souls. Before diving into the emotional and dramatic journey of Lila and Kito, please subscribe to the Animal Kisa channel so you don't miss out on touching stories about the friendship between humans and wild animals. In the peaceful afternoons at the research station, Lila would spend hours sitting by Kito's enclosure. She sang Bornean folk songs her mother had taught her, her clear voice echoing through the forest. Kito, the clever baby gorilla, listened intently. Then, as if entranced by the melody, Kito began tapping a rhythm on a wooden plank inside his enclosure, mimicking each note of Lila's song. The steady tapping blended with her singing, creating a unique duet between human and gorilla. One day, Lila brought a small mirror. She used it to reflect sunlight onto the enclosure's wall, creating dancing spots of light. Kito watched, then suddenly burst into loud laughter, a rare behavior in gorillas, as noted in Jen Fosse's research on emotional expressions. Kito's joyful laughter made Lila laugh too. This light game quickly became a favorite moment in their meetings. In a meaningful encounter, Lila gave Kito a bracelet woven from leaves. Kito accepted it, wore it on his wrist, then carefully broke a small branch, bent it into a circle, and pushed it through the enclosure's gap to Lila. This exchange of gifts not only showcased their special friendship but also demonstrated Kito's remarkable memory and creativity. Scientifically, Kito's mimicking and gift-exchanging behaviors reflected an impressive long-term memory, similar to that of Coco, the gorilla who learned sign language and remembered individuals over many years. Researchers at the station noted Kito's exceptional memory. Even when Lila was absent, Kito would often tap the familiar song's rhythm on a tree, as if searching for her, a testament to their deep bond and Kito's superior intelligence. But could this special friendship withstand the test of time and distance? Or would Lila one day face the painful truth that not all promises can be kept? That night, the sky over the Borneo forest turned furious. A sudden flash flood struck, with water from upstream surging like a wild beast, sweeping away everything in its path. The research station, where Lila and her family had lived for years, was devastated in an instant. Rain poured relentlessly, lightning split the sky, and the wind howled, mixing with the panicked shouts of the scientists. Lila's parents hurriedly packed their belongings, preparing for an emergency evacuation. 10-year-old Lila huddled in the tent, clutching the branch Kito had given her, her heart heavy with the foreboding of parting from her special friend. Defying the torrential rain and her mother's protests, Lila bolted out of the tent. Her thin raincoat was soaked, and her feet were caked with slippery mud, but she didn't stop. She raced to Kito's enclosure, rain and tears streaming down her small face. Standing before the fence, Lila shouted into the wind, "Kito, I'll come back. I promise." She threw the leaf bracelet through the gap. Kito, the little gorilla, picked it up and clutched it to his chest. A deep, sorrowful groan escaped him, a sound that Lila would later learn, through Damien Aspinall's research, was a gorilla's expression of loss. Lila's father ran over and pulled her away. "Lila, you can't stay. The water is coming." Though dragged away, Lila kept looking back. Under the faint moonlight in the rain, Kito stood still, holding the leaf bracelet tightly, as if trying to preserve her image forever. 15 years passed, and Lila, now a 25-year-old biologist, returned to Borneo upon hearing that the sanctuary had been restored after the historic flood. She carried with her memories and the promise from years ago, hoping to reunite with Kito. But Kito had changed. He was now an 18-year-old alpha male gorilla, living solitarily, aggressive, and avoiding humans. The sanctuary was lush again, but the air between Lila and Kito seemed colder than ever. Lila prepared a new leaf bracelet, woven identically to the old one, hoping to rekindle Kito's memory. She approached his area, her heart pounding. When she held out the bracelet and softly called his name, Kito merely glanced at it before turning away, showing no reaction. Lila felt her heart constrict. She began to doubt, did Kito still remember her? Or had time erased all memories of their special friendship? The sanctuary's researchers warned her, Kito is no longer the baby gorilla you knew. He attacked a staff member last year. Although Jian Fossey's research suggests gorillas can remember close relationships for 10 to 20 years, no one can be sure if that applies to Kito after all this time. Their words cut deep into Lila's hope. Her mind was in turmoil. Lila wondered if her promise from years ago still held any meaning. Had she been delusional about their bond? Or had Kito truly forgotten her, leaving her with the pain of a one-sided memory? Each passing day, she struggled with a sense of failure, questioning the value of the friendship she once believed was eternal. One evening, as Lila sat alone outside the sanctuary, the bright moonlight bathed the quiet forest. Suddenly, she heard a familiar sound from afar, steady tapping, identical to the Bornean folk song she used to sing to Kito. Lila's heart raced. She stood up and walked toward the sound, hoping it was a sign that Kito still remembered her. But as she drew closer, she was stunned. It wasn't Kito, but a young gorilla, about 3 years old, tapping on a wooden plank just like Kito used to. Could this be Kito's offspring? And if so, was Kito silently passing on memories of her to the next generation? One evening, as the full moon cast a brilliant glow over the Borneo forest, Lila sat quietly by the sanctuary's fence. Suddenly, a familiar sound drifted from the distance, a steady tapping on a tree trunk, mirroring the rhythm of an old folk song she once sang to Kito when he was just a tiny gorilla. Lila sprang to her feet, her heart racing. She edged closer, and through the moonlit haze, she spotted Kito, now a grown gorilla, tapping out that same tune, as if awaiting someone from long ago. The next morning, Lila sought out a veteran sanctuary worker who'd cared for Kito since his earliest days. His voice was low as he shared, "Kito does this every full moon night. And you know, he still keeps that old leaf bracelet you made him years back. It's withered now, but he treasures it in his nest like it's gold." Those words hit Lila hard, bringing tears to her eyes. She thought of Christian the lion, reunited with his old owners after years apart, thanks to familiar sounds and keepsakes. Science backs it up, animals hold deep emotional memories, and Lila began to believe Kito had never forgotten her. She couldn't wait any longer. Lila made up her mind, she'd slip into Kito's area on a bright moonlit night, armed with a small mirror and a new leaf bracelet, crafted just like the original. She knew Kito was a powerful gorilla now, maybe even dangerous, but that didn't stop her. She needed him to know she'd kept her promise. That night, a sudden tropical storm roared in. Winds howled, rain crashed down like a flood, and part of the sanctuary fence collapsed with a thunderous crack. Kito, with his immense strength, broke free. He stood alone in the downpour, moonlight cutting through the dark clouds to glisten on his soaked fur. In a quiet moment, he tapped out the old folk song on a tree, the sound ringing out against the wind. When Lila heard about the breach, she didn't hesitate. Ignoring the danger, she bolted from her tent, charging through the muddy forest. She slipped, fell, her clothes drenched, but she kept going until she reached Kito. Standing about 15 feet away, breathless, she peered at him through the rain. Then, her shaky voice rose with the Bornean folk song, "O green forest, O cool stream, the moonlight guides the night," cold and emotion made her tremble. She lifted the small mirror, bouncing moonlight onto the ground, reviving the light game they'd played as kids. Kito stopped tapping. His deep black eyes locked onto hers. He stepped forward, slow, steady, cautious. Lila stood frozen, her pulse pounding. Up close, he touched the new leaf bracelet in her hand. Then he turned, fetched the old, brittle one from his nest, and set it beside the new. A warm, low huff rumbled from his throat, a sign of safety and recognition, like what researcher Damien Aspinall once noted in gorillas. In that instant, Kito pressed his forehead to Lila's, his eyes shimmering in the moonlight. Tears spilled down her cheeks as she sobbed, "I kept my promise." Kito, as if he understood, rested a hand on his chest and tapped the song's rhythm, soft but sure, like he was saying, "I haven't forgotten either." As the rain eased and the moon glowed bright, they stood together, a living proof of a bond beyond time and distance. Their reunion after 15 years apart was caught by a security camera by chance. Under the moonlight and a drizzle, the young woman and the adult gorilla gazed at each other with unmistakable familiarity. The clip spread like wildfire, racking up millions of views online and hitting major news outlets. Reporters hounded Lila for interviews, but she turned them all down. In a short note to the world, she said, "Kito isn't my story. He's family." The moment didn't just tug at heartstrings, it sparked a global push for wildlife protection. Fueled by her love for Kito, Lila turned their reunion into action. She launched a fundraiser for Moonlight Zone, a unique gorilla sanctuary, no fences, no cages, no tourists, just a place for gorillas to live wild and free. The world rallied behind her, and donations soared past her goal. When Moonlight Zone was ready, Kito moved in. He seemed lost at first, but soon settled. On moonlit nights, his steady tapping, the tune of that old Bornean song Lila sang as a kid, echoed through. It was his way of saying he'd found peace in his new home. Every year, Lila returned to Moonlight Zone to visit Kito. She never went deep inside, just left a small mirror from afar, a nod to their childhood light game. Even as he aged, Kito knew it was hers. He'd carry it to his nest, setting it beside two leaf bracelets, the faded old one and a new one he'd make annually. It was a quiet sign of their unbreakable friendship, crossing the line between species. Their story isn't just a tearjerker, it's a wake-up call about our duty to nature. Moonlight Zone stands as a symbol of respecting wild freedom, inspiring conservation efforts worldwide. Each year, Lila came back to the sanctuary where Kito lived. She didn't venture in to meet him, not from fear or distance, but because she knew their bond didn't need that. Instead, she'd leave a small mirror under an old tree bathed in moonlight, a keepsake of their light game days, brimming with unspoken meaning. One time, under a silver moon, Lila watched from a distance. Kito ambled to the mirror, sat down, and with his big hands gently bent a branch into a circle, placing it beside the gift. Lila's heart shook. It was the first thing Kito ever gave her 15 years back, a branch circle, their promise's symbol. He'd never forgotten, and it hit her, their friendship wasn't just a memory, it was an invisible thread, holding strong through time. The story ends on a stunning moonlit night. Kito sat alone under a tree, the light tracing his solid form. Next to him lay the old, faded leaf bracelet, a fresh one he'd just shaped, and the tiny mirror glinting with moonbeams. He tapped his chest, playing the Bornean folk song Lila once sang. The deep, rolling notes carried through the still forest, as if he were sharing their tale with the leaves, the wind, and the moon that saw their promise all those years ago. Some bonds don't need words, just hearts to remember. Lila and Kito prove it. Their friendship leaps over the divide between human and gorilla, time and space, leaving a deep lesson in compassion and respect for nature. Kito's no ordinary wild animal, he's got memory, feelings, and a heart that holds dear what matters. Studies show gorillas can keep social ties for years, even a lifetime. So if wild creatures can love and remember forever, why don't we cherish and protect them? Let's act together to save wildlife, so stories like Lila and Kito's aren't just pretty memories but a future we can build. Every little step, spreading awareness, guarding habitats, fighting poaching, can change things. If this tale stirred your heart, drop your thoughts in the comments below, we'd love to hear them. Subscribe to Animal Kisa so you don't miss more moving stories of human-wildlife bonds. Thanks for listening till the end, see you in the next video.